Welcome back to the Success Unleashed show. Today's topic, another good one. We're going to talk about marketing. Did you know that on average, contractors waste 80% of their marketing budget? So if you're spending $1,000 a month on Google My Business or Facebook ads or YouTube or whatever, 80% of that is being wasted. If you're not good at math, that's $800. If you're spending more, let's say $10,000, that means $8,000 of that is being wasted. Most marketing companies suck. That's the reality of the situation. You're paying some 22-year-old kid to sit behind a computer, and because he understands the internet more than you do, you're paying him, and he's pocketing the money. Now, what is it that we need to do then to switch that around? I'm going to share with you what's going to work for you in 2025 and beyond. This comes from working over 7 years with hundreds of different contractors. And when I talk about marketing, we're talking about everything from Google My Business, Facebook ads, we're talking about YouTube, we're talking about local Facebook groups, we're talking about shaking hands and kissing babies, billboards, mailers, everything that has to do with marketing. And I want to give you a plan. So let's get to it. The first thing you need to understand is there is more noise in the world right now than ever. A few years ago, we had the attention span of a goldfish. That's 7 seconds, by the way. Think about it. When you get on the internet and you're watching videos on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, how fast are you scrolling through before you're moving on to the next thing? On average, you have 2.5 seconds to get somebody's attention. 2.5, right? So there's way more noise and way more things happening. What are you doing to capture that attention in that first 2.5 minutes? The second thing that I want you to understand is this. The business is still out there. There are still opportunities, but it's about connecting you with your audience, whether that's homeowners or that's contractors and remodelers, whether that's commercial projects, which you're dealing with investors and developers, government jobs, doesn't matter. The work is still out there. It's about connecting you with them. That's what marketing is. All right, so what have I seen that's working right now when it comes to marketing? The first thing is something called omnipresence. What does that mean? That means you are everywhere, right? Most contractors think, hey, if I have a website, they're going to find me. No, they're not. Or they get a wrapper on their truck and they're like, oh, now they're going to find me. Nope. Or a billboard. Nope. Or a mailer. Nope. Or Facebook ads. Nope. It's a combination. On average right now, people need to see you and your brand 15 to 20 times before they will ever even consider doing business with you. Think about it. When you or your spouse shops on Amazon, how many different options are you going through before you settle on one? Probably quite a few, right? How about when you might be interested in, let's just say, a pair of shoes, right? Nikes. I was looking at Nikes the other day, Metcons, because I like to go to CrossFit, right? I need a new pair of shoes. Well, I go and I look at an ad and I click through it, but I'm not ready to buy now. Well, guess what? Now I'm seeing Metcon ads everywhere. And because I enter my email, guess what I get? An email about their shoes, right? So they are bombarding me with what it is that I need, or at least what I tell them that I need, right? Omnipresence, being able to be in multiple places at the same time. Number 2, Google ads. They work. Like, listen, I get it. You may not be getting the results you want out of it, but it's a big boys game. You've got companies that do hundreds of millions of dollars spending millions of dollars on Google ads. So you may not be number 1, and that's okay. But you need to be out there. Understand that there's options now. Right? There's Google sponsors, there's Google leads, there's Google My Business. There's a lot of different options out there. You just need to get super clear on which option you're going to focus on so that you can start getting the results that you want. All right, let's talk a little bit about social media ads. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, they work. They do work. But here's what's happened. Before, you could do 80% of your ads trying to get somebody to do business with you, and 20% on some version of what we call brand awareness, getting them to know you a little bit. The game has changed. People don't trust people anymore. They don't trust businesses anymore. There's a lot of shady contractors out there doing shady work, right? So now think about spending more of your dollars on brand awareness. This is who we are and this is what we do, and less on trying to get people to click through on something. In other words, right now, the name of the game is something we call edutainment. Yes, I did combine two words, but I didn't make it up, so don't blame me for it, right? What is edutainment? Edutainment is education and entertainment. Educate your audience. If you're a landscaper and you work, let's say in Vegas, well, you're probably not going to be doing a ton of grass. It's probably more xeriscape, right? Zero water type yards. Well, for somebody that's moving to Vegas from somewhere that's super green, they're not going to understand what that is. And they're not going to understand what's the best approach for it. So you could come out with a series of videos that shares insights, how to pick the right rock. What about a weed barrier? What type of plants, because I am going to have some plants, are more drought resistant, right? Educate your market. Now, the entertainment part is you make it more fun. I'm not going to show you how to do that. Go look at some of the folks you follow on Google. There's some really good examples out there. The next thing, communication. Make it easy for people to communicate with you. It used to be a phone book. There was a number. They would dial. You would pick up the phone, and that would be it. Nowadays, there's a lot of people who don't like to dial. There's a lot of people who like to text. Do you have the capability to do that? There's some people who only communicate through email. What about that? Do you have a form on your website where if somebody had a question or wanted to book something, they'd be able to do that, right? You want to make the ease of interaction with you as easy as possible. We want to make sure that if somebody wants to communicate with you, they can. And then this last piece, call it offline. What are you doing that you're not putting dollars behind that somebody's staring at a screen? People still got to drive places. They still got to go to sporting events. They still take their kids to different activities, right? There's still opportunities for you to get in front of them. So think about the best way to get in front of them. Now, because this isn't a marketing class, I can't go super deep in it. So I'm just going to throw some ideas your way. We talk about mailers. We talk about being inside of magazines. We talk about sponsoring community events. We talk about wraps on trucks. We can talk about sponsoring, different large scale events, going to home shows. There's a lot of different strategies out there. And I can share with you examples of successful contractors across the board. But you're going to have to figure out for who it is that you're serving and where it is that they are, what makes the most sense. Right? If you want to go for high-end homeowners, you advertising on a mailer is probably not the best approach. Why? Because they're probably not even looking at their own mail. But where do these guys hang out? Well, they hang out at country clubs, right? They hang out at private parties. They hang out at these different experiences. So that's a possibility for you. What about who has connections with them? Well, realtors, architects, designers, right? You start to get in front of people who already have access to that audience. You're going to be able to get in front of that audience. Now, I want to wrap this whole thing up with one thing that I want you to understand more than anything. It's going to take time. You and I would both love to put an ad out or put a post up or hold a sign on the corner and then people are just calling us, right? We would love for that to happen. It doesn't happen that way. It's going to take time. A year, 3 years, 5 years. It's going to take time. What you need to do is create a strategy that you can deploy. In other words, set it and forget it. What's the thing that I'm going to do over and over and over again and wait for those results that are going to come in? Think about planting a tree. If you were going to plant a tree, you start with a little seed. The seed goes in the ground. It's going to take 3, 6, 9, 12 months before that seed pops up. Okay? What about when it grows to a certain level to be able to mature enough to provide fruit? 3 to 5 years, right? Are you willing to have the patience enough to have that fruit? Because the truth is, once that tree does mature, 3 to 5 years, and it's bearing fruit, guess what it does every single year? Provide fruit. So don't be afraid to double down on your marketing, but make sure you're clear on who you're marketing to and how you're marketing to them. Don't keep wasting your time and your money. All right. You know what time it is. It's time to get after it. 3, 2, 1. Off you go. Thanks for listening to the Success Unleashed podcast. Before we go, show some love for your favorite podcast by liking, subscribing, and leaving us a review. Until we see you again, it's time to get after it. 3, 2, 1, off you go.